What's up, MTG Historic players? This is something I've been noodling on for a little while now. It is a Yawgmoth deck because we actually got some pretty cool pieces that come together with Yawgmoth. So this is a crazy overpowerful card. It's got 3 different major parts. So the first bit is protection from humans, which doesn't super come up that often. But the second one is an ability where you pay 1 life, sacrifice another creature, put a -1/-1 counter on up to 1 target creature, and draw a card. And then this is the thing that we're using the most. And it's more for the sacrifice outlet than specifically putting the negative counters on anything, but also drawing a card means that you should win the turn after that if you don't win on the spot. And then with this, we have a whole bunch of other different pieces that combo together to kind of make this engine work. Now, the kind of infinite combo is Yawgmoth in play and Young Wolf. If you have 2 Young Wolves, you can sacrifice 1 Young Wolf and then put a counter on a Young Wolf that has a +1/+1 counter, negating the Undying so that you can cycle the 2 Young Wolves indefinitely. And so that you don't die from paying the 1 life so many times, we have Zulaport Cutthroat and Blood Artist, both of which will gain you life and drain your opponent when you have creatures die. And we also have Sanguine Brushstroke, which will conjure Blood Artist, but also can make you blood tokens. And when blood tokens are removed, your opponent will lose 1 life. So there's a lot of weird little synergies we got going on here. I'm just going to kind of go through each of the cards, but that's kind of the core. So with the Brushstroke and the Blood Artist, it means we're playing 8 Blood Artists. Realistically, it's just one of them costs a little bit extra. And then the Cutthroat. But then we also have Bloodcaster when creatures die, which makes blood tokens. So big things dying make stuff. Kind of a theme here. Llanowar Elves for a little bit of acceleration. We have 1 Reezug. I was originally playing 3, but I didn't feel like I really actually wanted him that often. This is a really interesting one. And it has an ability where tap target creature in your graveyard perpetually becomes an artifact. You may cast that card this turn. So it stops becoming a creature, which is nichely impactful in some matchups. For example, if I turn a Blood Artist into an artifact, whenever a creature dies, my opponent will lose life and I'll gain life. And the Blood Artist is an artifact, not a creature. So if my opponent does something that destroys all creatures, I will still have that effect in play afterwards. And it's like a pseudo way to recycle things. And this combos nicely with Tyvar, Jubilant Brawler, because not only does Reezug's ability get haste, so I can use it straight away, I could potentially untap him if I needed to activate multiple times, or I can use the second ability to bring back a Reezug in order to use its effect. And so you're trying to get some of these really nice, powerful static effects that we have in play returned back as artifacts. And it is only a one-off, so it doesn't always come up, but it's pretty powerful when it does go off. I had Ayara in here previously, and that sort of did the same thing, but obviously with the Young Wolf combo it doesn't go off enough, but you can just like kind of sacrifice and leave a few other things in the same way to try and get the same kind of effect. Anyway, moving on, we've got Sarinth Steelseeker. So whenever an artifact enters the battlefield, you get to look at the top card of your library. If it's a land, put it in your hand. Otherwise, you can put it into your graveyard. Now, this one is really good with Sanguine Brushstroke, with Voldaren Bloodcaster, so that makes blood tokens pretty often, but also Reezug can trigger it as well. And we have 1 Defiant Salvager, where it lets you sacrifice an artifact, but also you could sacrifice creatures to do kind of the same thing that Yawgmoth would do, but you would just sack everything to get as many Blood Artists and Zulaport Cutthroat triggers to deal as much damage to your opponent as possible. But it's just a one-off because Yawgmoth is better. We then have Gurgling Anointer. This card is really good. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, put a counter on Gurgling Anointer. Now, Yawgmoth lets you draw extra cards, and it's really the only thing that's going to do that because Sarinth Steelseeker puts it into your hand. But the second ability is when Gurgling Anointer dies, return another target creature with mana value less than or equal to Gurgling Anointer's power from your graveyard to the battlefield. So that's going to hit Young Wolf and Llanowar Elves, unless if you can trigger its ability to get 1 counter on it, and then it will bring back any of your Blood Artist type things. This card is actually really good, and it's really helpful at getting your Yawgmoth back so that you have 2 in play and setting you up. Well, also it's like an extra step because it's technically an extra creature for all the Blood Artists and stuff to trigger on. So it's really strong. And also it being 3 CMC is really important because of Spawning Pod. Now, Spawning Pod works like Birthing Pod does. You'll sacrifice a creature, except it will search your deck for something that is that creature's mana value +1 and put it onto the battlefield. Now, you don't get to choose what the thing is that comes out, unless if you've stacked your deck with only 1 card in that CMC slot. So only Yawgmoth is the only 4-drop we have. So if we sacrifice something that costs 3, we will get Yawgmoth. If we sacrifice something that costs 2, statistically we'll get Anointer or maybe Salvager. And if we hit Yawgmoth, we just get anything that's value. So it's pretty good here. And just choosing when to go and get Yawgmoth is really powerful. And then we just have some lands. Just, lands. They hurt us sometimes. But we have an infinite life combo, so we don't really care that much. But there's a lot going on here, I know. But this is what it is, and we'll play some games, and hopefully you get to see it in action and start to get an idea of what's going on here. Okay, this is pretty good. Having Salvager in hand means that Pod will always hit Anointer, and then these are both pretty good to start. I usually prefer to lead with the Bloodcaster because it will give me a token when it dies at the least. But we don't have any 1-drops, but that's fine. I think my opponent is playing a deck that's faster than me, so I might be in trouble. I think next time we can throw down the Steelseeker, maybe. Okay. So 5 treasures. 5 treasures is when I should be worried. So I'm just gonna play out on curve here. I was more concerned about the Bloodcaster dying and wanting to have a Steelseeker in play, but now I think it's a bit less likely. So I might just go Steelseeker Cutthroat next time to use our mana more efficiently. Because I can always Salvager to trigger some of these things. Should I need to? Should I need to? That is Menace. Okay. So this feels like a treasure aggro deck. Not at all what I expected. Normally, Mountain Strike at Rich means a Mizzium Mastery deck. It's okay. So I'm going to see an artifact on the attack. So I'm going to want to block with the Gurgling Anointer. And the Cutthroat probably. So I don't take too much damage. Or it might be a dragon. I'm kind of just assuming it's going to be... Oh, interesting. I was kind of assuming it was going to be Embercleave. But... Wait, what? Pass. So they're going to end of turn something? That's interesting. They could just respond with anything by creating a dragon. Just not great. Not great for me. I think they are doing it. Okay. Okay, I don't care. I think this is probably enough. I also have the blood tokens to trigger the Anointer. I think I just pass happily here. Because I could sacrifice this to bring back the elves, but I would rather put a counter on this and bring back one of these things instead. It's slightly more value, but I need to untap to do that. And I basically just make the Salvager really big and then donk. Oh, that's cool and fun. Because you can just sacrifice itself. Great. Okay. It's a little annoying, but it's not the worst thing ever. I just got this. Take the hit from the dragon. Not that terrible. Brushstroke on top is pretty good. If he gives me this back. No. Okay. I figured. I'll keep that. I can play the Cutthroat. So I need to return this to play for my master plan to come to fruition. Or hit Yawgmoth. But I'm just gonna stall basically. Okay, I will take 8. That's fine. So I have to draw a card here. And then he gets a counter. And I pass. Hopefully I don't just get murdered. I'm kind of greeding here. I could have gained some life. Otherwise. Okay. Oh, I could just block with the Bloodcaster, but that's fine. I want to trigger the death. And then he gets to hit something. He just hits me. That's fine. All my stuff goes off first. I'm going to get this guy. I get a blood token. We'll bin this. I think I just win now? Just get to drain my opponent to death. I'm going to play this. I've got a young wolf. I can go and get back. Doesn't really matter what's on top of it. Because I can then sacrifice the blood tokens as well. So it's going to ding him for 1. We'll then sacrifice the young wolf, which is going to ding him for 3, make another blood token, and just keep going until my opponent dies. So that was pretty close, but my opponent's be dead. It's actually pretty good. We have like a really nice curve out here, like 1, 2, 3, 4. We are going second though. I got one of Bonecobbler. I don't know how super important it will be in this matchup. That's interesting. Yeah, just a double block. I would like to gain life. I sort of need that to not die. Also, I might be stuck on 2 lane, which could be a problem. interesting. Okay, we hit a land. I think maybe Brushstroke is correct here. Maybe Pod. I think Pod is correct here. Okay, feels like it's playing Tribal Knights. I don't have land. We're just gonna play Reezug and Pod Reezug. Oh, actually we have the Salvager. Interesting. Okay. It changes what I was expecting. I was expecting Anointer, but this actually may be better. Because if I play the Brushstroke, I can hit him for 3 and make my guy a 5/5. So I might need to block with a young wolf here. Okay. Has he got exile monocolored permanent? Oh, he's just gonna tap. Is what? Okay. Yeah, man. You can have it. A weird choice, but sure. He gets a Stronghold Arena, so I'm assuming you're not going to ever take more than 4. I hit a land, which is pretty nice. So I kind of want to do this. And I want to pod the young wolf. Oh, interesting. So I guess we start the raise. It's not great. So he's gonna have a knight, and then next turn he's gonna have a big anthem. So I have to be wary of. But I think playing Yawgmoth next turn, because he has protection from humans, and he is a human knight. These are not humans. Yeah, that's interesting. Can you blow up the Salvager now? Okay. Or the Blood Artist. Okay. That's fine by me. I need this to not connect for lifelink. Actually, if I'm really careful, he could just kill himself with the Stronghold Arena. That'd be kind of funny. He's hit 1 land off it so far. So there's 3. Oh, it's 1 or more? 1 or more. That's fine. Here's your Moth. And then pass. And the idea is to block the Cavalier of Night and then sacrifice in response. Unless if he's a human? He's an elemental. So I can block Radic just fine. And then sacrifice the Steelseeker to prevent him from gaining any life. Fine, okay. Yup. Oh, yes, the quest. The adventure, sorry. That can be a problem also. Oh, but he has protection from humans, so he can't tap Yawgmoth. That's actually so funny. Wait, what? The instant, I guess, isn't a human? You could pick 2 things, why didn't you pick 1 thing? Anyway, that's very strange. So, What am I doing next turn? I guess I'm playing Anointers. One Anointer. I have no Yawgmoth to pod into. So I would bring back Yawgmoth and pod into something there. I don't know if I can win this. It can definitely be annoying. I do have to block. I'm going to activate this. We'll just mitigate some of the damage that we take. And draw some cards. Wait, choose? You may. I guess he chose not to. That's interesting. Here's a Blood Artist. If I sacrifice the Anointer, I will get a Yawgmoth. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, and it's not quite enough. I guess I pass. I can block some stuff and then sacrifice. Yeah, it's fine. Killing his thing also gets a trigger off Blood Artist. Okay, it's irrelevant right now. There's... okay, fucking... I was about to say there's literally an adventure that might be a problem. And it was. It was a problem. That's fine. I'm not dead. Okay, so it could have been drafted. That's a bit rough. Past the blockers. This will block. I will then sacrifice it. We do another Yawgmoth. Huge. Huge and real. Alright, here's Yawgmoth. Here's Brushstroke, I guess. Just we get another Blood Artist. And kill this guy. Sacrificing the Yawgmoth that can't attack. And then target the Yawgmoth that does have a counter on it, sacrifice the Yawgmoth that doesn't have a counter on it. And then repeat. My opponent dies. I draw all the cards in my deck. Shoot him the good game. That was really lucky. Ripping the Yawgmoth at the end was really good though. I was originally planning to untap pod the wolf into something else. Alright, so that's YawgPod. It feels like this deck really has some crazy top end combo ability and a lot of really cool toolbox pieces. So I have been enjoying playing it a lot recently. Mostly just doing quests and stuff like that, but I really do like a lot of those combo-y type decks. I made one previously, which was the Yawgmoth putting a counter on something with an enchantment that gets you a Scarab token every time a counter is put on something, which does something kind of similar, but I wanted to just lean on specifically the things dying part of the combo here. You could also play, I think it's Haptera, I can't remember what her name is. She makes snakes. It's a similar thing. And there's lots of different avenues to brew and have fun building out with Yawgmoth, because that card is insane and is really strong in Historic. But that's it for this one. I will post the deck list in the description, so check that out if you want to try out this exact list, but I do recommend brewing something yourself. But I have a whole bunch of other stuff on this channel. There is a lot of other Magic the Gathering Historic content. I will have buttons over here for you to click on that will have other content to check out. I also do a lot of Marvel Snap, Pokemon content, and I'm making my own board game, which is a reverse murder mystery game. So if you think that sounds really interesting, check out the description for a link to that as well. And then while you're reading through this really long description I've got, hit those like and subscribe buttons as well, because that helps out the channel a lot. And then hopefully I'll see you in the next cool thing that I'm making.